What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Michael Ray Haybauer making like 5 videos today, but you'll see them on different days. What are we going to talk about in this video? Well, a lot of people don't watch them, but I'm going to do a movie review video from my perspective because I watch a lot of TV. I lay down and sleep, watch a lot of television and movies because I basically got no life. And I have health issues, so I have to lie down a lot and watch TV. But I love it. I love it. That's my life. Content is my life. Watching it, being a part of it, maybe producing it is my life. So let's get into it. What movie are we going to talk about on today's show? We're going to talk about Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, from a Ghostbuster perspective. Well, I'm not a Ghostbuster, but I am an alien buster from the movie Evolution with, rest in peace, Ivan Reitman. And I do know Jason Reitman a little bit, and I have a little history with him. We'll talk about that in a second. But please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider hitting the bell for notifications for when I go live, hopefully one time weekly. Also, I'm trying to get you guys a daily video, out of respect, whether it be for members only. Also, consider becoming a member of this channel for exclusive early content and members only live streams. And you know what? I'm going to start speaking my piece for members only because I got a lot to say. But hey, and if you consider donating or supporting the channel in other ways, I do have merchandise down below where I do have rarefied home items for sale, as well as t-shirts and autographed photos and stuff like that in case you cannot meet me at a convention one day or not in the future. And that's a good way to support, as well as the donation and the PayPals. And then you can connect with me on social medias and all that stuff down below. All right, let's talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. The second in the Ghostbusters Afterlife reboot movie. Let's just quickly give you a history of the original Ghostbusters. We all know the original Ghostbusters, or most of us do. We all love it. They built the family dynamic, and they were the OGs. Out of the fire station in New York, they had their adventures, and then Ghostbusters after Ghostbusters 2, it just seemed to have disappeared. And then Ivan Reitman, on many occasions, tried to produce a product in the vein of script writing to be similar to Ghostbusters, and I had the pleasure of being a part of one of those reboots, but in a different way, called Evolution with DreamWorks. We were alien busters. Aliens were taking over the Earth in Arizona, and we had to become basically the alien Ghostbusters to figure it out and to save the world. And I was blessed to be a part of it. It's one of the greatest adventures in my life, and I'm so proud to be and to have worked with some Ghostbusters like Dan Aykroyd, Ivan Reitman, and just to be a part of that world. Even though the movie tanked, didn't do so well, it's a cult classic to many people. There will never be a reboot, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't hire me because things went wrong. And let's just be honest, I'm going to make another video talking about it, but Hollywood doesn't understand me. I'm just too different. But still, it was one of the greatest moments in my life to be a part of that, and I'm still very humble to this day. So then, a few years later, well, many years later, but finally, Jason Reitman created, with Sony, I believe, he created the corporation. Well, I didn't want to talk about the girl reboot of Ghostbusters. Maybe I should. All right, Paul Feig. I know Paul too. I love you, Paul. You're an amazing comedic director. I've met you on many occasions. I've never had the pleasure of working with you. But Paul, we talk on social media a little bit. But Paul Feig made the Ghostbusters reboot where they did the DEI, the wokeness, or whatever you want to call it, where they replaced everybody with women. And that was the wrong way to do it. I know that's the way the Hollywood culture was moving back in the days. I get it. And I understand why you wouldn't want amazing, talented, who wouldn't want amazing, talented women to be Ghostbusters? But the approach that Paul and everybody took it was like a one-for-one reboot, you know? And it just, beyond all the controversy for them being women, it's not a good concept, you know? It's not a good concept. And, you can fool Hollywood, but you can't fool the real fans, you know? And that's what happened. They thought we were fooled because they were women. No, if there was a better story and a better concept for that Ghostbusters, we would have accepted it. But they threw it in their face and they basically replaced the men specifically with the woman characters. So Spangler's a woman, Venkman's a woman. Like, come on. There's talented writers out there and people that can create a better story, where it's Ghostbusters outside of Ghostbusters. And we're going to talk about this theme throughout this review. But in my opinion, they should have created many Ghostbuster departments. The Ghostbusters in the 80s became popular as the official Ghostbusters firehouse and whatnot. Then maybe the technology for the Ghostbusters, could have been made like a Tony Stark type thing. Then, in every state of America, they would have some ghost hauntings and all that other stuff, So now they can build these fire departments or these Ghostbuster stations in multiple states. Then you could have in one state or one town have an entire Ghostbuster corp as women. But they don't have to be Spangler, Venkman, and stuff like that. So that way you can spread the Ghostbusters world into many different Ghostbuster outlets. It's like the Ghostbusters at retro nostalgia conventions. They come around, they look awesome. They have different chapters. You're like, oh, you guys are awesome. Oh, you guys are all girls. Oh, you're all Indian Ghostbusters. That's pretty damn awesome. That's where they possibly could have took the woman Ghostbusters in that thing. Now, criticisms aside, that was my thought back then. Then we had the new Ghostbusters movie that came out around the time of the pandemic, and Jason Reitman created, under the umbrella with Sony, he created Ghost Corps. So now they want to release multiple Ghostbuster-themed projects in the future under the Sony umbrella of the Ghost Corps, like Ghostbusters Corporation. And again, that's a money-making move, but it's also a brilliant idea to lead us into this new century and to bring back some memories and nostalgia. So Jason Reitman got a hold of the property, and with the help of his father, they created the first Ghostbusters Afterlife. And we all wanted it and clamored it, and it was a new Ghostbuster story 30 years later. But they took the story where the firehouse was closed down, the equipment was thrown into lockers and all that other stuff, and, partial family members found it and recreated the Ghostbusters under that umbrella. Then they had, spoiler alert, cameos of the original Ghostbusters in the movie, coming back in the movie, and, an ending like no other. It made me cry. It was beautiful. It was a great addition. And just quick little tidbit, Jason Reitman held that movie back for like a year. He produced it, directed it, filmed it, whatever, written it, and then he edited it, and then he's like, you know what, I'm going to hold it back, and I'm going to do some retooling, some rework, and try to make it as best as possible since he had time during the pandemic. And then he reached out to some people in his circle to watch his original version and give feedback. And I was very blessed and humbled to be one of those people to watch the original Ghostbusters Afterlife, a digital early version, and give him some of my feedback. So that's such an opportunity to me. I didn't have the pleasure on this new movie that we're going to talk about, but still, that was just warms my heart. Because Jason Reitman probably also had a hand in hiring me for Evolution, because he was a fan and he's an awesome dude. and it's just great experience. Thank you, Jason. We haven't technically talked for even many years, even during the first Afterlife. It was just social media and emails and whatnot. Then his father passed away, Ivan. I wrote a letter to Jason, to Ivan, his family, his production company, everybody, just thanking them and wishing them the best. And rest in peace, Ivan Reitman. I mean, thank you for the opportunity to basically be a Ghostbuster. I am a fan. And now we get into this new movie that just came out. I had to wait till it got on VOD, and it just went on VOD the other day, and now it's called Frozen Empire. And basically, the family comes together again with cameos from, the original Ghostbusters. The mayor of New York is somehow still spoiler alert. The mayor of New York is somehow still the mayor. Is that possible? I had a couple of questions, but it's a great, cameo appearance. And did he do one term in the 80s? Then did he get rehired to be the mayor 30 years later? I don't know. But now, the Ghostbuster world was established again in the previous Afterlife movie, where it's the family taking over the Ghostbusters reign, and then they have their benefactor in Zedmore, and now they got the controversy of releasing this demon that can freeze everything because they believe the end of the world could be fire or ice. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of the movie. I'm just going to give you my complete thought process. And I enjoyed it, but it always brings me back to, why does everything have to go back to the same firehouse, to the same family or the descendants, and basically the same type of situation in New York. And, if you are going to spread the Ghostbusters, they need to be spread further to other people. And going back to the idea that I had for the Ghostbusters reboot that Paul Feig did, I think Jason Reitman and all that are keeping it so close to home, that they don't want to express new Ghostbusters or new factions of it or anything like that. Maybe they'll do that with a TV show or series, because I don't think these productions have cost them that much money, and they're not making that much money, like in box office, maybe around $300 million at most in total box office. So the truth of the franchise is, it's not $1 billion franchise, but it is a moneymaker. So if you can produce these movies for like 50 million, 100 million at most, and make 300 million total, well, there, you got your money back, and you doubled it, basically. With the law, by 3 times the amount. But it's not that big of a moneymaker. And off of the success of this one, I don't know how many more they have in them. They need to go outside of Jason Reitman in terms of writing. This time they had a different director, but I enjoyed the look and the feel of this movie. I enjoyed the actual ghost that befriended the young girl in the movie. I thought that was an interesting concept, but I felt like that wasn't explained correctly. And I would like to know the technology behind some of the equipment they were using in Zedmore's compound that they were building with a bigger tank to hold the ghost for the future. But the stakes weren't high enough. They just were not high enough. I do appreciate seeing Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Zedmore, and Ghostbusters. What do you want? Coming back into the movie and wearing the outfits. And they also put on new protein packs. Is that what they're called? Protein packs? That sounds like a candy bar that you eat. Protein pack. Proton. The proton packs. And that was pretty awesome that they had new ones. And then the girl made a copper plated or brass plated one, but she literally did a disgrace to me. She cut down the fire pole in the firehouse to get some brass. And I was like, where'd you cut it from? The top part, the bottom part? And then Slimer, he was just like an idiot ghost eating all the food. Like, come on, man. If you're going to have a ghost interact with a human girl or humans, make it Slimer. Make him a part of the Ghostbusters like the cartoon somehow. Yeah, I know you can do it. Maybe ghosts can learn languages, you know? But Slimer doesn't look like he did in the original movies. And then when they reintroduced him in the Afterlife movie, he has that same look. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Looks too big and weird, and it just doesn't look right. But they did bring back the library ghost. They took Dan Aykroyd's character to the library, and he had a moment that was cool to watch. They brought back the mayor. That was cool to see. And there was a lot of other little Easter eggs for the Ghostbusters. So overall, I enjoyed the movie. I really did. I just think there's plenty more stories out there where the stakes could be higher, and we need to be introduced correctly to new characters. I mean, I know in the first Afterlife we got introduced to the new family and the Ghostbuster car came back and all that. Okay, now that that's established, let's move on. Let's find a Ghostbuster corpse of like teenage adults or teenage, does that make sense? 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, teenage adults, where they want to be Ghostbusters and they try to learn the technology through the internet. They create their own Ghostbuster, situation because there are ghosts in their town, or they work with paranormal YouTubers to find ghosts and capture ghosts. There's plenty more stories that will not detract from the original Ghostbusters ideology and timeline that you can do. And I don't know if they messed with multiverses. Maybe the woman Ghostbusters was considered a multiverse Ghostbusters. I'm tired of that. But in this one, there seemed to be a few instances where there might have been appeared to be Ghostbuster multiverses still out there and storylines they could pursue. But that's just me Easter egg hunting and trying to find stuff where it's probably not. Last thing I wanted to say, I did enjoy the pasta bowl with that actor that was the Fire Master. And I'm kind of happy they brought back to the Masters. Are you the gatekeeper? And then this guy's the Fire Master. But man, they didn't have nothing to do in the movie. Like acting wise, no good character development. I really didn't care for the lot of them. And then the ones they brought back, they're just non-dimensional characters. I mean, barring the young girl and Paul Rudd in his comedy, the wife didn't do much, or the mother, she didn't, forgive me, I don't remember all the names, guys. But the mother really didn't do much. She's just there. Paul Rudd's there to protect her and be a little bit of a, father figure for the other kids. The kid from Stranger Things, like he's just there to run around and mess with Slimer. And it just, I just don't care. Maybe it's the acting, maybe it's the actors, maybe it's the writing, but I didn't care. And I want to care again, like when we first met the original Ghostbusters. Even after they added Zedmore through the interview process, these were good writing and good characters. And I miss that. I'm not saying you can't do it, Jason, but you just got to look elsewhere. And you got to find the next breed of talented comedians or whatever. You could also take the Ghostbusters into a dark category. And I'll be honest with you, this movie actually went dark. The images of the god or the demon that freezes everybody, I forgot his name, Kago. I won't remember this in T-minus 2 days. Jeremy Johns. It went a little bit darker. The visuals were scary. And I could see it. I'd like it if the Ghostbusters went into that R-rated place, that satanic ghost or demons type of category or world. For the adults that remember the original Ghostbusters. They're trying to play off the comedy and the stuff for little kids, and it's just kind of over with unless you create a new story, like I said, with a new Ghostbuster faction from somewhere else. It's just not going to work. If you're pandering to the old audience of the Ghostbusters, you have to go darker, like the Batman movies and stuff like that. And I think there is a place for a dark Ghostbusters movie. A lot of people would like that. Maybe a semi-horror film / Ghostbusters dark film. I think it'd be really, really interesting. But again, it's what the studio wants, what they believe will work, and it goes hand in hand. I do like the fact that they had a drone that could catch the ghost in the air. And on the last movie, they had the remote control car that could catch ghost. But there's something that I miss about having a long cable and throwing it down and having a big old thing. And yeah. So there's a lot of realms they could go. Let me know your thoughts on this movie. If I have to rate it from a 0 to a 10, I'm going to give it a 7. I enjoy parts of it. I enjoy the storyline. I'm all in every time they make a Ghostbusters project. But man, there is so much to be desired. And I'm getting tired of waiting for it. That being said, that's my review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if there's any other projects that you think I've watched or you want me to review, even older movies, because if you enjoyed this review, please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button, consider becoming a member, and let me know what other projects you want me to review down below. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope I'm getting better at it. I don't have a ghostwriter. Pun intended. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next review or the next video.